Hey everyone, this is Wexdarn here, and I'm here to start my new Let's Play, which will be for the game Viewtiful Joe. What I'm going to be doing is doing a playthrough on Adult Mode, which is essentially the normal difficulty for the game. Kids is Easy Mode, and yeah, just going to sit back, relax and play this game.
Captain Blue fights with every ounce of his being. He fights against the dark forces of evil for what is right. This is all that Blue has ever wanted, to do the right thing.
Come on, Blue! You have to save the world! We can't do it without you!
Joe, is this your idea of a date movie? I had a more romantic time eating popcorn in the lobby. Joe, honey, oh, why don't you show me some off-screen action?
Whoa, Sylvia! Cut it out! I said cut it out! They don't show these old movies all the time, you know. I've been looking forward to this forever.
Well, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, too. We haven't been out on a date in forever.
Hey, stop that! This is the best part.
The dark side prevails. Now you've seen just how flimsy your sense of justice is, Captain Blue. Now I rule this one. The world is mine.
Go away!
Come on!
And thus, Captain Blue was brought to his end. Goodbye, beautiful world. Nothing will ever be the same again.
Oh, man. I missed the most important part.
Hey, I've seen this scene before.
You know why? Because this flick hit the screens way back when we were still little babies.
But that guy in the blue mask, I know I've seen him somewhere.
The girl is mine and shall serve as the object of my revenge.
Wow, that was unreal. What the heck?
Ah! Hey! What's going on? Let go of me! Don't do something!
Well, what's happening? It's Six Machine. Hey! Whoa! Hey, wait a minute. Am I inside the movie?
Correct, my young friend. I am Captain Blue. I am no longer able to fight because I have been defeated. You must take my place as the new action hero.
That voice, it really is Captain Blue. Whoa! Hey, can I get your autograph?
No, I am already gone. I beg of you to take up the torch of justice, young movie lover. Now go. The world is in danger. Your lady friend is waiting for you.
Cool. A real V-Watch. I always wanted to try one on. Tough.
And that was our introductory cutscene to this game. So here we are playing as Joe, who is on a mission to rescue his girlfriend from Movie Land. In case you didn't catch it, his girlfriend's name is Sylvia. And basically, a lot of enemies in this game will actually telegraph their attacks and give you a chance to like dodge them like this, and it dazes them. And then after that you can use the attack buttons to punch and kick them. I'm not sure what the buttons are for the PlayStation 2 version, since I've only ever played and in fact only ever found the GameCube version in stores. So they are Y to punch and X to kick. You can attack when they're not dazed, but it's just much more effective when you do attack if they are dazed. Anyway, I'm just going to press the Z button and get out of here. Right. So when you're out of the training mode and attack them doing that, they give you these Viewtiful or V points. So, and you're going to want to collect a lot of them because they allow you to level up and gain access to a lot of new abilities. And this is another thing you'll see a lot. The game will tell you to just go for it, and it'll give you a certain objective like defeating a certain amount of enemies, or to get somewhere within a certain amount of time, or find a key to a certain door. And after you've done it, you get graded on your V points, your defense, and the V points you gain, the defense meaning how many hits you lost and how much time you took. Time isn't usually displayed, so you can't really gauge how quickly you have to do something a lot of the time. But basically you want to do things as quick as possible and the game sets it to you. Normally attacks only deal 1 heart of damage, but if you're playing as just average Joe, like we're playing as now, he takes double damage. And you'll see what I mean in the sense of playing as just average Joe quite soon, because the V-Watch that Joe commented on earlier, it does serve a function in changing us. So yeah, that's coming up relatively soon, so you don't have to worry about that. Depending on how well you do on the whole mini sections, like etc., you'll actually gain bonuses for your you'll actually gain like bonus V points in terms of the hundreds, so they're actually really useful at leveling up.
My young Joe, it looks like you haven't awakened to your true powers as a hero. I'll show you how to be a real hero. Come and get me!
Just go for it!
So now we have to fight Captain Blue. This is actually relatively easy because he actually telegraphs his attacks for us, and when he does that, he loses that blue aura that he has, and it essentially gives us the ability to attack him. You shouldn't go near him when he's using that lightning thing, since it's basically an area of effect sort of thing. So if you go near him during that time, he will damage you, and if you're going for the defense bonus, then that's really not going to help you with it. So basically just wait for that blue aura to be dissipated and then go for the attack on him. So dodge that and...
Ah, your hero-ness has awakened. Now the V-Watch is responding to your hero instincts deep down inside. When the V-Watch starts to glow, say the word Henshin!
Henshin and go, baby! You want some? We'll come and get it.
So now we are actually Viewtiful Joe. We gain the ability to slow down time by pressing the L button, and this allows us to be more powerful in our attacks, as well as the fact that Viewtiful Joe on his own takes half the damage that average Joe would. And if you daze an enemy, then he actually gains this target marker, and if you hit them, then you can actually get multipliers on the amount of V points you're going to receive. So yeah, this is a really cool first power to get, and it's probably the one you're going to use most in this game, because if an enemy tries to attack you and then you go into slow mode, Joe will dodge it at the expense of a large chunk of the VFX bar that you see at the top. If the VFX bar runs out, then he turns back into his average form. Like, I'll just let it run out now so you can see. You have to wait for the first gauge to fill up again, and voila. You may have been noticing that we've been picking up film canisters as we've run along. If you collect 50 of them, then your gauge increases. There's enough to fill up every single one of those, like, gauge blocks, I guess. You know, throughout every level, but I won't be going for every one of them, because when you complete a chapter it resets your gauge back down to the minimum, so I really don't see that much point to it, as well as the fact that it would really be wasting a lot of your time for me to go to track down every one of them, and you don't really gain anything from it aside from a temporary boost. So right, this is a recurring mini-boss for this game, Joker. He's going to act a lot like the ballerina enemies we were fighting earlier, and yeah, you're going to be fighting this guy a lot in this game, so get used to his attack pattern rather quickly. When you defeat him, he drops a chip and you get to put it in his little machine. So you want to slow down, and you either want to go for the blue tokens. I'm going to run out of VFX. Well, I'm going to try this again. Right. If you go for the V's, then it advances the plot essentially. It gives you the MacGuffin that you need to complete the area. But personally, in my opinion, it's more important to go for the actual blue tokens, because they, well, you'll see what they actually give you. So they give you loads and loads and loads of V points, and considering you need them to level up your character, that's important. Also, if you go for the hamburgers, it'll drop a hamburger and Joe can eat that, and it restores one bit of his life bar at the top. So they can be useful, but since they only restore one bit of health, then they're really not that important in the grand scheme of things, and I should have had that then. I know it tells me to slow game, you don't need to put that above the thing. And this is taking much longer than it needed to, so I'm not going to get a very good time bonus on this area. But let's see, we'll just wait for this. A weird thing about Joker is that in the Viewtiful Joe anime, they actually changed his name to Jokester. Like what they did in a DC Universe thing, where like in the multiverse there was a different form of the Joker called the Jokester. I doubt that's what they were referencing, but it's kind of a weird coincidence. Anyway, just take out this axe guy, get 20 points on it. What's really cool about this game is that in a lot of places you will find like destructible environments, like these chandeliers can be taken down, I think, if you have the right move for it, but the game doesn't feel like cooperating with me to show it off at this point, so anyway, so if you punch them in target mode, then it adds a multiplier to your score, and you can, in areas with a lot of enemies, you can rack up your score rather quickly. Especially since pretty much every enemy you defeat drops these blue bottles of some sort of drink, and when Joe drinks them it restores his gauge a bit, so they're really helpful. But what you really want to look out for is red bottles of the stuff, because that stuff like permanently fills your gauge for a while, and you can keep on using your abilities and it won't drain. So that is really useful. Yeah. And I'm sorry for just talking a lot during this, but it's just I want to get the sort of game mechanics out of the way in this first episode, so I don't have to cover them that much, and I don't have to, like, basically forget everything out of the way. I don't have to remember to mention it later on, unless it's like just something that's level exclusive. And there's an example of Joe using the dodge move because he's in slow-mo. Thankfully I'm not timed for this area of the level, but obviously don't want the YouTube video to be too ginormous. Right, anyway, here comes our next little mini section. You'll find these enemies quite often too, these gunslinging enemies. And really what you want to do is wait for them to try and shoot at you, then slow down so you can punch the bullet back at him. And I think that's a really cool use of slow-mo, but have to wait for this gauge to get filled back up. But so in areas with a lot of enemies, not enemies with a lot of areas, it really lets you rack up on points, because I could have hit all 4 of them if I had enough in my gauge. But it's just the meter drains quite quickly in this mode at least. So yeah, there's ways of like increasing your meter's sort of usefulness, I guess, like purchasable upgrades, and I'll show you them when we get there. But right now the meter does drain rather quickly, and I needed that chandelier that got knocked down to try and grab those 5 canisters, but it's no big problem because, like I said, I'm not going for every single canister. So, oh yes, and the grades you can get are either Rainbow V, which is you get Viewtiful in every single category, Normal Viewtiful, which is a mixture of Viewtiful and a couple of other high ranking grades, or you can also have Awesome, which is the A rank, B, which is bad, C, which is crappy, and D, which is dough. So and depending on what overall grade you get, you will get a certain bonus to go with it in terms of points you can use at the upgrade store. Also, another thing to bring up, if you grab one of those bottles of drink whilst you have a full gauge, it will actually like overflow a little bit, so you can actually have more in your gauge than you can actually hold in a way. So that's kind of useful, because it's basically like if you're in an RPG and your MP went to like 150 out of 100, so it'd be really useful. Anyway, let's see what grade I get. Awesome. It's fine by me. Let's see, grab all these canisters, because even though I said they're not that useful, to have them in the stage you're currently in is fine. So anyway, get 2 ballerinas here, you can just smack the chandelier and it falls on top of them and kills them both instantly. It doesn't give you the most V points possible, but it's a quick way of dispatching them, and since there's a chance of them doing their spin move and me just completely failing, what I was going to say is there's a chance of them doing the spin moves and one of them aiming high and the other aiming low, and that can be kind of annoying if you're stuck in the middle, since you can't dodge both of them at the same time. Alright. Generally, if you get them to have that target marker, you know your next punch is either going to knock them out or really severely damage them. And I was too low on this one as well, but let's see. Dodge over that. Turn around and hit the other one. So, I really like some of the things you can do with the abilities that we're going to get into later. So like, they are actually really creative ways of doing things. So let's see, one of you try and attack me. I'll punch you. Well, I'll kick you and then kick you. So we've already seen, for example, in this level, like we had to use slow to bring down one of the flying platforms by bringing down the rotary blade. So that's really cool. And in other points we'll find like explosions that need to be slowed down so they have a massive effect. You'll see really cool uses of everything here. So anyway, this is getting up to our first like level boss right here, and there's plenty of canisters, so if you want to try upgrading yourself, this is probably a way to do it. And I think if we stand about here, right, this first boss is a helicopter, as you can see, and a good tip about bosses to have in this game is as soon as you start the fight, go into slow motion mode, because generally they will try getting a very quick, cheap hit in on you before you're fully in the battle, so that's a good thing to have on your side, like, so you're not going to get hit by their first blow. And I completely dodged down then. Alright, this is an incident where there's a lot of enemies in the area, so you can see that I'm really quickly racking up the points, and wow, I have never beaten it that fast before. So I'm really quite happy with that. If I didn't get hit by that one enemy, that would have been a Rainbow V. But anyway, what we're going to do is power up. So this is going to be the store that you can access. Let's see, there's cheeseburgers to refill your health. You can buy bombs, which you use by holding down the kick button, and boomerangs, which you can use by holding down the punching button. They're both quite useful, but I'm not going to buy them just yet, since you do get a rather large supply of them quite early on. So yeah, the sliding kick and air Joe kick are both really good things to have. Yeah, the ones in green are supplies that you can top up on. The pink ones are moves that you get permanently. So that one's a really useful ability. I'll get into each of the moves as we get up to them, but the ones that I'd really recommend over everything else are sliding kick, air Joe. Wait, no, not air Joe. Sliding kick, red hot kick, and Viewtiful forever. They're all really useful in my opinion, so I recommend them over the other abilities. So yeah, oh, and you're going to want to get the VFX turbocharger at some point early on. Get it, trust me. You can buy life, which permanently increases your gauge. Take 2, which means if your life gauge fully drops out, you can restart, but it doesn't carry over to your other lives and you have to repurchase it, and at 10,000 points that's quite a hefty purchase. And life is Viewtiful. You get extra lives, but not in the sense of the life running on top of the screen. So basically what I'm going to do is just buy sliding, and I really want red hot kick, but I've not got enough for it, so I'll just extend my life bar by 1. So anyway, let's move on to the next level.
Just go for it.
Alright, you see, the first thing you're going to want to do in this area is just ignore that at the start and just run along and take out these bats, really. In my opinion, that's what you want to do, but the game's triggered it itself, so I'll get back to that in a second. Although it could actually work in my favour, but let's see. Screw it, I'm going to ignore the bats, run along, see how far I can get. You're going to want to jump over the barrels anyway, but... Ooh. So what the idea of that area was that there was water dripping down where Joe's V-Watch was glowing. He had to slow it down with water, slow down the water using slow, and it built up into a giant drop and fell onto the button. What I didn't realise was that it still affected it even though it was off screen, so my bad, sorry guys. Something I should bring up is that if Joe's watch does start to glow, it generally means you need to use one of your abilities nearby, so it's a nice little indicator, but when it still goes off in the later areas it's kind of annoying because it's kind of like the game doesn't trust you to know its own mechanics yet. Alright, that was a nice 300 V points. With these flying enemies you've got 2 types, and you've got this one here that's using a jetpack, and in other levels you've got green ones that are using propeller blades. If you use slow when you're near the propeller enemies, then it really does. Then it slows down their propellers and it makes them drop to the floor rather than lets them, and it makes them easier to take out. So another thing I recommend, and that's why I recommend sliding. It's a good way of getting around when you're in slow-mo, really. Like, you crouch down on the ground and press kick, you slide. It's really quite useful, and there's some areas in the game you can only reach by using slide, so it's a really good ability to have. Oh, I'm one canister off. Like, I'm not going for an all canister run, but that's just really annoying. So anyway, let's walk over here because we've got a bit of a boss fight. So here we go.
Joe, it's time for your next trial. Hope you're warmed up, because ready or not, here I come.
Yeah, another Captain Blue fight. Basically, because you have slow in this fight, it's a lot easier, as well as having a double jump that comes with being Viewtiful Joe. You can just punch through his blue aura as long as you're in slow, but you're going to want to still get away from his lightning attack. It's like that you still can't really avoid, so now I've got to wait until he gets into Viewtiful form again, but he still drops the aura on his own occasionally, but generally a more reliable method is to just... Oh, I should have jumped further away from him, but generally a more reliable method is just to kick him in slow-mo, because you do more damage in slow-mo. I thought I did quite well on time. Right, so holding down R makes Joe go into super speed mode. And if he punches and kicks enough in super speed mode, he gets miniature versions of himself just fly off on the screen and hit something else. He also gets a flame shield, and if there's like any sort of fire hazards in the level, like there's the flame shield, if there's any sort of fire hazard in the level, then Joe's completely immune to them. So that's kind of useful. But generally speaking, I don't use it that much, and that's really bad because I really should use it more, because there's like little unlockable mini boxes that float around in the background and you can only get them by using max speed, and because I don't like using max speed that much, I miss out on them a lot. I mean, I'll show what I mean in a little bit, but first go into slow mo, punch the barrel into the air, and then use super fast whilst in slow mo to run underneath it, and you're in this cave area. Alright. With these little enemies that give you a nice little supply of V points. Yeah, we're gonna have that red hot kick soon enough. So, alright, what you want to do is just carry on around this like circular area. I really like the perspective this game gives you, because it is like 2.5D, but you'll come to areas like this which sort of try and have a 3D sort of feeling to them. So look at that camera there, you can see that pathway that we just walked down and where we need to go still. It's really cool. And I like the art style for this game as well, all this cartoony shell shaded stuff. Cell shaded, not shell shaded. Ah well, I can't speak today. It's a good quality in a Let's Player. So, right, we're gonna have another little section thing coming up soon, so I just want to wait here for my gauge to fill back up, which is a reason why you're gonna want to get the double speed gauge relatively early. Obvious reasons. As well as the fact that you only have to stay as average Joe for very short periods of time. But that's not what you want to do with the barrels at all. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use super speed to get yourself enough distance so then you can grab the collectibles as you come down. But what I ended up doing was trying to slow down the barrel. And since Joe can't really dodge the barrel, it doesn't really help. See all those canisters out there that are just out of reach? Well, the idea is you toss the enemy up there, and they bring the canisters back down with them. I mean, I've missed the second column, but just slow down again. Crouch down and press Y, and Joe does an uppercut, and it brings everything down. So yeah, depending on how you like Joe's stances, you can actually pull off a fair few moves, and like it's quite good in that you're not just using the same punch kick combos over again. Like, there's a nice combination of moves, and if you use moves in combination with your powers that you get, there's a lot of cool things that you can do with them. But you may have noticed that I'm not using max speed that much. Like I said, I don't normally do, but anyway. I just want to punch you up there. As well, the fact that it lets me punch these for a lot of points, and I missed those canisters, didn't I? Doesn't matter, I've apparently ranked up another canister anyway, so doesn't matter to me. Okay, let's get all these canisters, and see, that's one thing that gets kind of annoying, is when you're caught between two enemies and they decide to go for different points of view to attack. I mean, I know that's good enemy design in that they're not all predictable, but it's just kind of annoying that when you're trying to do something. Right, as you can see, that barrel's a bit more deadly than the last barrel. So you get, just run through here, the barrel takes out all the enemies for you. 3 points rubbish, but thanks to defense and time, I get an awesome. Right, what you have to do here is, well, you remember me mentioning about the whole flame shield thing that you get with max speed? Well, if you start punching these and punch them enough, then Joe's flame shield allows him to turn torches on, but as I said, the gauge drains rather quickly, so you have to really light them and then just run to the next one, and you have to get all the torches lit at the same time. Okay, so now we're on to this next one. I think we're just short by 1,000 points of red hot kick, so I think I'm going to save up for that over just buying Air Joe. Although Boomerang is actually kind of helpful for the next level, I've found. So I don't know. I think I'm not going to buy anything and just save up for Red Hot Kick, since it is really useful. Okay, the way that Viewtiful Joe is structured is that it's split up into episodes, which are split up into 3 parts within themselves. And basically in between each part you can save and buy power-ups and stuff, but the 3rd part will always be a boss fight. And for example, I'm walking up to the boss fight arena in here, and you can see all this like imagery in the background that's really cool. Like sort of gothic-y imagery, like it's really cool, and I really like the bosses in this game, so I'm just gonna stay quiet for this boss introduction cutscene.
Oh, dare disturb my beauty! Have you not heard? This movie is already over! Captain Blue's defeated, and we are victorious!
Shows you what you know, fat brain. In movies, there has to be a plot twist. That means things always go wrong once before you get to the happy ending. Hello? Now, come on. Let's get this over with.
What nonsense is this? Come nightfall, the ritual of sacrifice will begin in your pathetic little world will... Oopsie poopsie! Almost ripped the cat out of the bed there! In any case, this has nothing to do with riff-raff like you. The only thing left for you to do is... vanish!
Alright! Let's get it on!
So this is our first boss with Charles III, and whilst he's not exactly the hardest boss, it can be a bit annoying. If you punch him at all, he splits into like these bat enemies that you might have seen earlier. But one really cool thing that you can do if you've bought Red Hot Kick at this point is if you actually use that move on him, then he doesn't get split into bats, he just falls straight onto the ground, and you can just rack up a bunch of hits on him there. Also, if the pillars that he knocks down from the ceiling by using that tornado move hit him, then he gets knocked onto the ground as well. You can also punch the pillars back up at him, but it's a little finicky on how to do it, and I really hope I don't lose to the first boss. Come on, let me just split you. There you go. Come on. Alright. Let me transform so I can punch them up at you. Like, Joe's hits really don't have as much force when he's in regular form, so you have to wait. So, oh, have to dodge more pillars that are falling down from the ceiling. Like, oh, he is strong enough to knock him out, but just not get him as high. So I guess I can use that to rack up combos, but I don't think my defense score is going to be that good for this level, but you know what, I don't care that much, so long as I just beat him. And if you split him into bats, then he's nothing to worry about. You can just wait for your bar to go back up, because he can't attack when he's in bat form. But if he goes into this tornado move across the ground, you can punch him, but only when you're going in slow-mo, because otherwise he will hurt you on contact. So, and the reason why I keep on using slow-mo as much as it does is you do double damage when you're in slow motion. So. Alright, that's the first boss done, and whatever you do during this explosion thing will do that.
Sorry to wake you up. You can sleep as much as you want now.
Joe wanders into the world of the movies and gallantly fights evil to rescue Sylvia. With the help of his superior strength, he is able to reign triumphant over the dastardly bad man, Charles III. Where could Sylvia be? Is she safe? Is she even alive? Intolerable anxiety tears at Joe's heart. What did they do to her?
What would be a good hero name for me? I never thought this would be so hard.
Searching for Sylvia, Joe tries to track clues as to her whereabouts. Little did he know that the clues would only lead him to more problems. The next episode is Some Like It Red Hot. See you there.
There we go. Our total ranking grade for this level is awesome. And we got 3,000 points for beating Charles III, so we've got more than enough to buy Red Hot Kick now. And I'm just going to save up. I think that's enough for this episode, so thank you for watching, and if you're interested, please stay around for the next episode and click the next episode button to go there. So I'll see you in the next part.